Alright, boys and girls, this is a quick video on decimals. I know that we've talked about decimals in the past, but I really want to get involved with the decimal places and how decimals work. So first off, decimals, these are numbers that have decimal point after the ones place value. Decimals are like fractions. They're found in between whole numbers. So just like fractions make up a whole, decimals also make up a whole. If we look at this number line, you can see that I've broken it up into 10 parts. So the fraction for like this spot here on the number line would be 1/10. Well, because we have a value of 10, we can change it into a decimal like this. And I'm going to show you guys how to do that next. So first off, you have to remember decimals have place values. Just like when we talk about regular numbers and we have the ones, the tens, the hundreds, the thousands, 10,000s, and so on, decimals also have their own place values. So when you look at decimal, they come to the right side of the place value. So like in here, you have your decimal, and the right side is the first place value. This is the 10th place. We don't start with a ones place because anything over 1 in a fraction is a whole, but we can work with tenths. So we also have a number like this, like 2. So again, you have your decimal point. Right to the right is the 10th place, and this is 2/10. So there's more values besides that. Next to the tenths place, the second value is hundredths. So you put a placeholder 0, just like you would for any other number, and the 1 goes in the hundredths place. This usually works with only fractions that are over 100. So in this case, the fraction for this would be 1/100th. That's why this decimal is 1/100th. Same thing like this. You have your decimal place, and then you have your 2 in your hundredths place. This makes it 2/100ths. So this is what I want you to do. Pause the video here, and I want you to write down 2 place values that we learned about with decimals. Do that now. Okay, now that you've unpaused the video and we're back, you should know those 2 decimal places, and I will check them, or Miss D will check them when she gets a chance. Okay, so how to get decimals from fractions. So this can be a little tricky in converting them. So decimals and fractions are the same thing. Just one uses a fraction bar and the other one uses a decimal point. So let's take a look at this fraction here. This is 1/10. Okay? Because our numerator is 1 and our denominator is 10, we can convert it to a decimal. Again, you can only convert fractions that either have a 10 or a hundredth in the denominator. So this would be converted to this because it's 0.1. This is the tenths place. This is 1/10. This is 1/10. Just like this. Here is 2/10. So the 2 gets placed in the tenths place. This would work multiple times. So if I give you the number 9, it would go in the tenths place because it would be 9/10. So let's take another look at some more work with decimals. Something like the hundredths. Now you can see here hundredths. They go in the place value of the hundredths place. Just like tenths work in tenths, hundredths work in the hundredths place. So this is 1/100, and it'd be represented as a decimal like this, 1/100th. The same thing works here for 200ths. You convert it over to 200ths. The 2 goes in the hundredths place, and we put a placeholder 0 in the tenths to hold the spot. Now, this could be tricky when you have fractions without 10 or without 100. So we use fractions and convert them, just like when we convert them when adding or subtracting fractions or when we're trying to find a common denominator. You use that the same way. So let's take a look at something like this. This is 2/5. Well, we can't convert this to a decimal yet because this is not a 10. Our denominator is not a tenth. But we've learned fractions, so we know how to change this up. We know that we can multiply 5 and 2 by 2 because 5 times 2 is 10 and 2 times 2 is 4. We get 4/10. Well, now that we have a tenth in our denominator, we can now convert it to 4/10. The same thing works with hundredths. I have 2/50. Well, we know that 50 times 2 can get me 100. So I can multiply to get 4/100ths, and I get this decimal. Again, you can only convert fractions to decimals if you have a tenth or a hundredth in the denominator. So I want you to now change this fraction, 1/2, into a decimal. And then I want you to tell me what value do the denominators need to be changed from a fraction to get a decimal. You can do that now for homework, if you have this for homework, or if you're listening to this in class. Either way. Hope this helps, guys.